Tonight on Bridge City News, as the coronavirus numbers slowly begin to flatten, some provinces are announcing plans to lift restrictions, although the Prime Minister says a coordinated national approach is what's needed. Ontario frontline workers are getting a $4 per hour wage increase for at least 16 weeks as they combat COVID-19. And local Lethbridge College students get creative as they hosted a virtual convocation ceremony.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Paul Arthur.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Ontario and Quebec are both expected to unveil their initial plans for reopening their economies this week, even as Ontario reports 437 new cases of COVID-19 and 24 new deaths related to the virus this morning. Provinces across the country have begun to review how to cautiously begin lifting COVID-19 restrictions. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said yesterday that the federal, provincial, and territorial governments are working together on a coordinated national approach.
I had a call with the First Ministers and we talked about putting together a joint statement outlining what needs to be done to reopen the economy. We're working together with Canada's chief medical officers to establish principles and guidelines for us all. We have to be mindful that the economy and the realities of each province and territory are unique, so the timing and specific measures will be different across jurisdictions. We need a coordinated approach nationally to avoid any confusion amongst Canadians. We're working together on a plan based on science, data, and expert advice that lays out our common ambition to see our country through this. If we don't get the next phase right, we risk losing all the progress we've made so far.
Organizers of the Canadian Western Agribition in Regina say this year's show will go ahead November 30th to December 5th. The news comes in an open letter that states the annual agricultural exhibition has withstood many challenges in its history, including recessions, droughts, washouts, booms and busts, BSE, early frosts, and late harvests. Agribition is celebrating its 50th year. Meanwhile, Canada's Farm Show, which is scheduled for Regina in June, says on its website that it's planning for the show to continue while it monitors COVID-19 developments. Ontario's premier is giving the province's frontline workers raises for the next 4 months as they continue the fight against COVID-19. The raise will apply to workers at multiple facilities, including long-term care homes and shelters.
Our nurses, our personal support workers, our long-term care staff, our home care workers, our hospital staff, our staff at homeless shelters and women's shelters, and those looking after adults with developmental disabilities, our correctional officers, our cooks and cleaners at these facilities. They will receive a $4 per hour pandemic pay premium for every hour of work they complete for the next 16 weeks. On top of that, those who work over 100 hours per month will receive a $250 bonus per month for up to $1,000 over the next 16 weeks.
Ford also blasted anti-lockdown protesters, calling them reckless and selfish. Investigators say they have arrested the mother of 2 young girls who were stabbed inside a Montreal apartment yesterday. An 11-year-old girl is dead and her 5-year-old sister is recovering in hospital. Police say the mother was taken to hospital with self-inflicted injuries. An official with the ambulance service says 4 people were transported to hospital but couldn't say if it was the father of the girls, who neighbors reported seeing outside in shock. The RCMP officer killed in a mass shooting last weekend in rural Nova Scotia is being called a hero. The National Police Federation says Heidi Stevenson's final decision, one that cost her her life, removed a killer's most potent advantage, likely saving many lives. The 48-year-old constable is said to have rammed the shooter's replica vehicle with her police car. She was then shot and killed before both vehicles ended up in flames. 22 people were killed in the shooting rampage by a man wearing an RCMP uniform and driving what looked like an authentic police car. While most of the focus has been on business in terms of the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic, houses of worship across Canada are also feeling the financial strain of the lockdowns. Many churches, temples, mosques, and synagogues rely on donations and rental fees to cover costs, and with physical distancing restrictions preventing large gatherings, those finances have taken a dramatic hit. several religious institutions have applied for the federal wage subsidy program to allow them to keep some staffers on their payrolls to perform virtual services, provide counsel, and outreach to vulnerable members of their communities. And south of the border, churches have also been closed for weeks due to the coronavirus. But following President Trump's guidelines to begin lifting restrictions, Matt Staver, chairman of Liberty Council, is calling on churches to open again on May 3rd, which is being called Reopen Church Sunday.
President Donald Trump recently released the guidelines to open America again. It has 3 phases, and May 1 is the beginning of phase 1. Churches are included in that phase. The president, during the press conference, when he announced the guidelines, said that churches are very important and attendance at churches are very important to all of us. And he said, again, very important to him. Churches are absolutely essential. Churches cannot just, in many cases, flip off the lights and resort to a podcast. Many churches feed people. When the churches close, those individuals go hungry. Many people provide counsel and other kind of support that's simply impossible to do online. With all of these lockdowns, we know that dramatic increases have occurred in domestic violence, child abuse, child sexual exploitation, online pornography, alcohol consumption, depression, and even suicide. With the churches closed, you can't minister to those people online. So May 3 is declared Reopen Church Sunday. Liberty Council is promoting this on our website, reopenchurch.org, along with guidelines for how you can begin to reopen your church. Of course, we suggest a multiple combination of a limited in-person service with a parking lot service and an online service, and if all 3 are possible, that is wonderful for you to do. But do something with regards to an in-person service. We also have guidelines on reopenchurch.org about how to go about the sanitization of your church and protecting the health of those who attend. You can go to reopenchurch.org, that's reopenchurch.org, for more information.
Closer to home, yesterday was Convocation Day for multimedia production students at Lethbridge College, but of course they were not able to attend in person due to COVID-19 restrictions. But in fact, graduates, family, and friends did attend online after students decided to put their skills to use by creating a virtual ceremony. Led by Caleb Moberg, they designed an interactive Minecraft video game setting, complete with a platform, podium, and seating for students and guests. Moberg says it took him and 3 friends about 20 hours each to finish the project. After imposing a 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew to help curb the spread of coronavirus, the mayor of Kauai, Hawaii, Derek Kawakami, has been hosting a nightly stay-home show to combat boredom and to keep his community safe.
This is who I am as a person. You know, I'm not your typical mayor.
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Stay Home Kauai.
The series is, Stay Home Kauai. Now it's like literally transformed to Stay Home Kauai, Stay Home Hawaii, Stay Home everybody, because we're finding out there's people even on the mainland that are watching during this pandemic and while everybody's sort of sheltering in place. I think a lot of attention is, and we started just teaching people how to make masks. And, it really started with my wife, who's, she's a 6th grade middle school teacher. And so she just wanted to do a few crafts and just a few simple projects to keep kids occupied.
So tonight, folks, we're doing a lava lamp.
And it was supposed to be like 2 or 3 of them is what she explained to me. And people really started to appreciate it.
If you can see that, that's pretty cool.
I get to be who I am. I get to still be a mayor and hold the line and be stern and conduct business. But I get to release all of that and be my true self. And it makes my heart smile that people accept me for who I am.
And recapping one of our top news stories as the coronavirus numbers slowly begin to flatten, some provinces are announcing plans to begin lifting restrictions, although the Prime Minister says a coordinated national approach is what is needed. And a look at weekend weather, partly cloudy tonight with a low of 8, a nice day shaping up tomorrow. A few clouds and a high of 18 with a west wind gusting from 40 to 60. As of yet, there is no vaccine for COVID-19, but there are some things we can do to stay healthy. Dr. Krista Coombs from AcuPlus Wellness Clinic in Lethbridge shares some advice on how to build up our immune system. That interview is straight ahead.